So hello everybody and welcome to today's ODTN use case steering team. So this one will be the today's meeting, and we're gonna, just as a point of note, we are canceling next week's meeting due to ONF Connect conference, but we're gonna have in-person meeting on the day before. So I'm gonna send out more details in a specific email, both for local and remote participation at a later time this week, probably on Friday. So next week's meeting is cancelled. Just as a peace of mind, I think I already removed it from the calendar. So just so that you are aware, we're having the in-person meeting next Monday, starting at 9:30. I've already arranged lunch for everybody who submitted his request to the form, and that is there. These are the agenda topics. That we discussed also last time. Is there any agenda topic that you guys want to discuss and you thought about this week and you were not able to, and it's not in the list? If nobody has suggestions, I can always take them up by email, and we can also go with the flow next week and see where the discussion leads us. I think we need to touch all of these as an in-person update, but if anybody has more, feel free to send them to me via email, and I'll put them in the agenda. This is the link, but I'll send it out via email. So also, thanks for the guys at Sterlite. They are gonna go to Infinera on the Tuesday, on the Monday afternoon. Unfortunately, as I was saying last week, I cannot come because of setup time at the venue floor. So I will maybe try and arrange something with somebody. I have still to send an email about this to a few people and see if they can join. Unfortunately, it's a very busy week, so we'll see how that pans out. I'll keep you guys all updated. So having said that,
so Andrea,
yes,
Andrea, just
please.
Again, this is Karthik. Yeah, this is Karthik. So I will be there anyways because I'll be there. Stepan will be there and others.
Mm-hmm.
But what we are expecting, like I mentioned last week, is someone other than me would present what ODTN is doing, their use cases or their requirements and so on.
Yes.
So if it could be someone, it can be even someone remote. If it can be Arturo or Hiroki or someone other than the usual suspects.
yes, no, completely understood. The problem is that so local, it could be me or Hiroki, and the problem is that we are both needed for setup at the venue, at the show floor.
Mm-hmm.
So unfortunately, neither of us can come. So locally, the other people that I know are really well aware and could present something from outside of the usual suspect, as you were saying, or probably the people from Nokia, so Juan or Dominique, that are in the call. And I know that they also have to come, at least one of them, to the show floor to set up their part of the demo. Juan, Dominique, maybe some of you could go to Infinera to present ODTN?
I think Dominic may come to the Infinera. What do you think?
On that possibility, do we have to answer now?
No.
On that.
I'm gonna reach out with an email to you. And let's discuss about this on an email thread, and see if it's okay for you, and discuss it offline. So we get a reply to Karthik by, let's say, the end of the week.
Yes,
Yeah, that would be good.
We need to synchronize internally because we are not only the only ones involved in TAPI first, and we should synchronize.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
Most definitely, most definitely. I'll send you an email with all the details and let's have the discussion on that. Okay. So thanks, guys. By the way.
You're welcome.
Okay. Having said that, let me jump to the Jira board. So we keep tracking of the things that are going on, and well, apart from my stories, I would like to start with Arturo updating us on 7.8.2.5. I know that there are pretty good updates, and that there is a patch on Gerrit which is here, which
yeah.
Oops. So Arturo, can you give us an update?
Yeah, so basically we have uploaded today this patch. Basically, it's including this device description discovery class for TAPI devices. What that's basically is to connect to the OpenLine system controller via TAPI. It requests the list of connectivity the service interface points, of available in the server. And based on that, it creates a list of ports that are attached to the OLS device, which is basically a switch abstraction, big switch abstraction of the OpenLine system. There are some details that we need to discuss here. The most important one is regarding the type of port description that we need to attach to it. In the previous meeting, what we discussed basically was to define those ports of the OLS as OCH ports. This was, I think, due to current implementation on the line side of the transponders. So I'm not 100% sure about what it is the constraint regarding that about topology in ONOS. I don't know if for link purposes of big topology, you need to basically attach ports at the same layer. But basically this was the comment, and this is what we did initially. We basically enforced the type of the ports to OCH, but checking some classes there, especially the OMS port description helper, I think that is called. I saw that, in my opinion, it fits better to what I guess we should discover from TAPI regarding the service interface points. So I'm going to explain very briefly. Last week I had a meeting with Rafael from APA. We were discussing a little bit about the workflow, and for the device discovery, we both agreed that we will basically base the port discovery from the service interface points. And regarding information of the optical layer, what we think that is necessary is the NMC service interface point augmentation. This NMC basically include a pool of available resources, occupied resources, and supportable resources, I think. And I think that this is the critical information that you need to obtain from the service interface point in order to do the planning. Basically, there you will see which is the band, the spectrum band that is available for being used, and which are the alternatives that you have in case it has a fixed grid, a fixed grid, a multiplexer with a fixed lambda allocation. You will basically just see one possible channel, and this is going to be the case for ALPA, for instance. And then this information, in my opinion, should be included in ONOS. And then, as it should be included in the port description of the ONOS ports, my take here is that the most fitting layered protocol description is OMS, because this includes this information. I think I didn't see it in OCH, for instance, but I might be wrong. That's why I didn't basically go coding more, because I was not sure. I wanted to discuss here with the real experts on ONOS.
Ramon, did you get my comments? Maybe I messed up my Gerrit.
No, the comments are there, Ramon. The comments are there. I also need to take a look at it. So as you can see, the comments
Okay.
are there.
Okay, because I was confused if I managed to submit it. It's not a clear interface, Garrett, and sometimes I get drowned in comments.
If I have to be honest, I saw them 1 minute before the call, so I didn't have the
I
time
know,
to.
and I did it today. I wasn't expecting you to address it. No, it's just my only comment of what you said. It's I still have my doubts whether it should be OMS port or OCH port. I still tend to think that according to what we did in the past, but maybe I'm wrong. Huh? Uh, it's OCH port helper what could help, and then the tributary ports of the OLS are based on OCH. Then the question is whether we need NMC or directly OTC. Maybe the another alternative is OTC, having a pool of central frequencies. That I don't know. It's very depending on the OLS implementation. But we've been working in the past with both
So
layers. Yeah.
yeah. So this is Karthik. So if you want to keep it generic, you should do OMS port with a single, of course, ones in the list. Like OMS is nothing but a list of OCH, right? So I mean, keeping it very trivial description. So we can
I
have
know.
always a list of one for now. So if you want to keep it generic, make it OMS port.
I know. My concern was because we discussed this with Arturo last week, and just echoing again, is how it interacts with the rest of ONOS. Of course, definitely, if you look at TAPI from the theoretical point of view, you could have NMC, you could have OTC, and both should be supported, and then you have the MC pool and everything. But the problem is that according to the optical model, usually you connect your transceiver to your ROADM using an OCH port. This is very ONOS specific. I'm not talking about applicability of TAPI.
Yeah. Legacy-wise, yes, that's how we are doing even today, right? Even today, like that's how it's done. I'm just saying from future, the whole thing is it's going to be more OMS. But that's again, we can make some shortcut decisions now.
So my comment was, if we want to just plug into the actual ONOS optical model, where you have transceivers and ROADMs and everything, the actual model assumes that the port between a transceiver and a ROADM, or an OLS in this case, is an OCH. And then ports between ROADMs, it's an OMS port. I'm not saying that putting an OMS port directly to a transceiver wouldn't work. I couldn't make it work. But maybe it's myself being clumsy.
Okay, guys, let's do this.
So just to make it sure, it's not a limitation of TAPI, limitation of I'm sorry, I didn't hear, but I will not hold more time.
Yeah, I was trying to make the suggestion. So for now, since we know it works with an OCH port, for testing in the patch, let's keep it as an OCH port. In the meantime, what I will do is I will try to dig into the implementation of the optical model and the optical intent to see why the OMS port is not working, and I might ping you, Ramon, about that, and see if there is a need of some augmentation to have the possibility of having the OMS port instead of the OCH port also in there. And then when we understand what are the missing pieces for that to be used in the optical model and the optical intent, we will move also the patch to an OMS port. How does that sound?
Okay. Sounds great. Just a final comment. Maybe your testing involves, and maybe that's the solution, changing the line port of the transceiver to OMS as well. Because right now in the device discovery of open config transceiver plus the patch that it's pending to be submitted to master, right now I'm assuming that the line port of the optical transceiver, the terminal device, is OCH. So probably if we also describe the transceiver, the terminal device, as having an OMS port, maybe we would have an OMS versus OMS, which can make it compatible. So I'm not saying it doesn't work. I'm just saying that the straightforward approach was to put OCH port to the line port of the transceiver, and consequently the ROADM expects an OCH port. If we also describe the topology of the open config device as an OMS, probably we can put also in the OLS an OMS port, and we have the flexibility of playing with frequency slots rather than optical channel signals.
Okay. Just a question on my side. But the line side of the transceiver is properly modeled, is more correctly modeled with an OCH port, not an OMS port. Am I right or am I wrong?
For fixed grid, I would say that the problem is that OCH is a terminology that in flexi grid it's already a bit obsolete. But for traditional transceivers, yes, usually you have an optical channel. But now with sliceable transceivers, with FlexiGrid, they are becoming more and more OMS ports plus OTCs or network media channels. So it's still a gray area. In my humble opinion, other experts can easily disagree.
My concern is basically the difference between a configured and non-configured line-side transponder port. In the sense that when it is configured, you need to represent it as an OCH or OTSI, but when there is not a connection created over that port, that's why, in my opinion, there is the correct representation is an OMS. Basically, because you can potentially create a channel over any range of within any slot of the spectrum, any channel that you pick up, and that flexibility normally you cannot have it in an OCH port. Then this comes to my question: if I represent the line port, the input ports of the OLS as OCH, I am expecting that the information that I need to include is the channel, right? The information about the channel.
Yes. Then if you look at TAPI, the TAPI has OTC spec, not the MC pool spec.
Yeah, but this is not so problematic. In the sense that this rather depends on what it is going to be exported by the OLS. But my take here is, does ONOS allow you to express multiple, like a big range of the spectrum? Like available spectrum, or it is just the configured one?
No,
because
even if you have an OCH port, which is now the case of the transceiver for the line card, ONOS still performs the lambda query. So it's a OCH port. It means that you can only have one active optical channel signal, but it's tunable. You can still reply to the behavior of the ONOS, and you get a list of tunable channels.
Okay, so when I discover the port with which information I should feel, okay, maybe something that we can discuss offline and we move on. Yeah, I think it's better.
Okay. Yes, then let's do this. I'll dig into the possibility of extending the optical model to any mapping. So we can maybe look into that, and let's take the discussion on this offline. But thanks a lot, Arturo, for starting the effort on this patch. I will take a look at it hopefully today, and I will provide some comments, and also through Ramon's comment, I think we can update it pretty soon. Okay.
Yeah, so in fact, I will address the changes that they are needed for the comments of Ramon. And thanks, Ramon, for commenting.
Yeah, if you want, since it's, I think you can wait also for my comments, so you can push sure. One patch for all. Okay, thanks for that. And I guess then the next one, after we finish up this one, is probably going to be implementing the flow rule programmable, but that is coming at a later time. Okay. I guess, Ramon, there is no real news on 7827.
7827 is
the TAPI 2.1 to optical connectivity.
No, as you know, I was trying. I had time allocated for this, but I triggered a bunch of well, you're aware of this, of
Yes.
RESTconf issues, and it seems that it can be fixed, but I didn't have time then with the fixed RESTconf to address this.
That's a good point. So while you bring it up, let me discuss with everybody this point. So we had a problem this week where we found out that we could not pull the topology context after getting it populated. So because there was a bug in the Yang tools that was preventing the data node to be properly converted to a JSON file, so the JSON file would not be read into the reply of RESTconf, and an error was issued. So thanks, Ramon, for reporting that, and I'm actually gonna show you the specific error that we were seeing. So this was the error that we were seeing, and thanks, Ramon, for reporting that. And initially, I thought it was no problem because the empty TAPI context was being returned, but then when I populated and started and actually got it working properly, it would fail with this error. So I did some digging and I found out that this was an issue because it was not picking up the single instance in multi-node, the Yang tools. And after that, thanks to the help of Tom and Ray in ONF, we uploaded a new version of the ONOS Yang tools to Maven Central, that is 2.6. And yesterday I have updated ONOS to 2.6 itself, the Yang tools version of with this patch included. So at the moment, if you run ONOS, at least this particular request will return you the proper topology for through TAPI. I know that Hamano from NTT had some other issues that I just saw this morning. Unfortunately, I didn't have time to look into them more, but I will do that. But at least the topology seems to be working fine at the moment. So thanks for bringing the errors up, Ramon, and thanks everybody for the help in fixing them and the discussion. One thing I want to mention is I want to ask what is the state of the upload of the update of TAPI to include the augmentation of the optical the photonic media on the RPC of the TAPI connectivity model.
Yeah, Andrea. So I've done that. I'm going to put a commit request today, pull request, and I'll assign probably Arturo to review. Is that fine, Arturo?
Thanks.
Yeah. So I've done that. So right now, what I've augmented is get service interface point, right? So that we have photonic. We have the get node edge point also has been augmented, as well as get connectivity service and create and update connectivity service. So I believe like I've covered what I think we need. I have not updated anything related in the path computation service. Hopefully we don't need that, right?
I think not, because there is no augmentations regarding the path computation model, right?
There is none.
Right.
So for now, that's not there yet.
This is Ramon speaking again. To a couple of more comments. We're still unsure of the implications, but we identified in several places in TAPI lists without keys. This is something that bite us in the past a couple of times. You remember the case was endpoints in some request. A simple grep in Yang 2.1 shows that there are several places with if you do Pyang, a Pyang tree, you get list with empty brackets, which usually means that that's the point. Thank you, Andrea. So it means that there are several places where lists are without keys, and these places are very specific to the photonic media layer. My gut feeling is that this will bite us sooner or later, because people responsible for the ONOS Young tools and directly the RESTconf as well, they didn't show any intention to update the Young tools to support lists without keys. So
okay, now we can update that. So
it's a yellow flag. A yellow flag. Yeah. Put some key in the list just to avoid problems in the ONOS, since you're doing a .1.
Right. Yeah, I suspect so. I know from the past, right? At least we didn't have in the RPC lists. We didn't have keys. Normally, we made sure there were keys in the data tree. But since photonic is not yet augmenting RPC, so I guess there might be some bugs. But mostly in general, we don't have keys for the list in RPCs.
No, but I think that wait a second, just to be clear, the RPCs are not augmented in the version that I was playing with.
Right. That's why I think that's why there may be some other bugs.
But I mean, these lists.
I'll fix that. Yeah.
These lists do not come from RPC because they are photonic media. So these are without keys outside RPCs. Okay,
let me look into these. Yes, I'll specify the keys too. Like I'll do it as part of this committee.
Or maybe it's a Piang bug that doesn't identify the key.
No. It's not. Most likely it's Tappy bug. Let me look at it. I don't suspect Piang.
Okay. And just out
this is done manually, right? So yeah.
And just out of your convenience, Karthik, I put it in the document and I assign it to you, so you receive a notification and you have all the info you need over there.
Yes.
Okay. So thanks for that.
Yeah.
So, and also just to finish up the previous point, please add the link of the pull request when you have it over here. And we will take a look, and I will make sure also other people from the team take a look. Also, for example, Hiroki from this side, so we can make sure that it's good on our side, and then we will have to update the ONOS version. But let's go one step at a time on that. Okay, thanks for that. So next point, yes. This 7828, the patch is up. I'm okay with merging it. Dominique, did you have time to take a look at this patch and make sure it's okay also, for example, for the Nokia transponders? Or at least as a good base to show you what the next step is for your driver.
Honestly, we didn't. We didn't have time to look at this. Except if Quan have done today some things on that, but I don't. And how to proceed from there, I don't know. What do you propose, Andrea? We keep open for a while to do some testing.
I mean, at the moment, I'm okay in keeping it as a patch on Gerrit, but I'm also okay in merging it and then updating it in a very agile fashion.
I would prefer that you merge it, because to me, I'm not very fluent in Gerrit and all this, and if I can always address my tickets with one branch and not having to rely on diversity of patches, unless there is something blocking, my suggestion is to merge it, and then we can change it again if need be. But for example, to implement 7827, I would like that this 7828 it's merged. I know I can play with cherry picking and patches, but this is adding complexity in an already complex project, and I have the feeling that I'm spending 50% of the time dealing with the system and 50% with the logic. So my suggestion is try to merge, and then we can refine at a later stage, because we don't have an ETA on when it's merged. And
agreed. Then let's do this. I'll merge it. Merge it today, and then we can update when Dominique and Juan test it and see what their report is. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks. I'll do the merging right away. Okay. So on the next one, Karthik, do you have any update on the simulator?
So it's like right now the blocking one is first get the argument done, right?
Okay.
Because I have to update according to that. Like I said earlier, I was working on the simulator using the REST, the data tree, not the operations. So now when we get the operations done, then I have to really update the operations because that's what we're using.
Okay. Yep. That's
right.
fine by me. Okay, on the ONF Connect demo side, we're working very closely to port phase 1.0 on the Cassini box, and I'm gonna let Hiroki then speak to that. I managed to get all the equipment needed up and ready, so we're gonna have the demo, and also Kwame and Dominique from Nokia are gonna bring their own demo remotely with a VPN to the lab. So that's good on our side. No news on the OFC demo, so that's good. In the sense that we did not yet receive any update on that, and there was a small issue where there was an outdated version still on the website that had 4 pages, and we managed to get it fixed, so that was good. Okay, so then Hiroki, can you talk us a little bit about 7838, the Cassini integration?
Yes, and for towards the ONF Connect demonstration, and from yesterday, I'm working with IP Infusion guys at the IP Infusion office, and now we're trying to integrate ODTN application in the Cassini box northbound interface, and we there's some issue, but we're almost done to integrate with Cassini box, but inside Cassini box, they have to implement some mapping logic to the northbound interface to the southbound transport abstraction interface configuration. So now they're implementing this feature today, and we'll conduct integration test tomorrow. And I hope this test will go fine, and we'll provide the completed demonstration and this Friday.
Okay.
To prepare the demonstration at the ONF Connect venue.
Okay, that's amazing work. Thanks, Hiroki. And I also know that this will yield a few patches with a few bug fixes and a few modifications to the OpenConfig versions, for example, and we will push those patches to get it publicly after ONF Connect for everybody to review. At the moment, we have them as a draft because they're not really ready for prime time. They're ready for the demo, but not ready for prime time with check styles and all of that. So I know Hiroki will push them later, and we will have a public version of the driver for everybody to play with. And big thanks goes also to the IP Infusion people that are involved in the project. Okay. Before we do 7839 and 7841, Arturo, do you have any update on your end of the emulator simulator?
Yeah, I have today to replicate the issue that you found last week, but I couldn't do it. I basically installed a new virtual machine, fresh new, with an Ubuntu 16.04, and I installed just Maven and Open GDK, and was working.
Okay, maybe my mistake was try to run it locally on my Mac. Maybe that's what got me.
Maybe something that you have install that is collisioning somehow, maybe libraries problem, maybe, I mean, when you install the dependencies for this Java server stuff, maybe there is something that is conflicting, but well,
Okay.
I couldn't replicate.
Okay. One question. As Hiroki have done with emulators for phase 1, could we look into making a Docker container, a Docker version of this?
Sure.
Okay. Because at that point you will have just to pull a Docker image and just do Docker up, basically Docker start.
That's perfectly fine. Yeah, put it to me, and I will try to do it in this week.
Okay. Push a Docker image with everything included. Okay. Okay. So that's good. Okay, then I'll ask Alessio to update us on the extension of the optical connectivity intent with the suggested path.
Yes, Andrea, I'm working on it. So probably I will upload a patch in the next days.
Okay.
I'm doing some tests, so the patch is already working, but I'm trying also to extend at least the rest interface, so it is easier to interact with the functionality. So before submitting, I will do some tests on our emulated network.
Okay. Okay. Thanks for that, and we look forward to reviewing the patch and I'll make sure everybody reviews it so we can then merge it to the code. And speaking of the code, we have a release date target for ONOS 2.0, which is December 15th, meaning basically 20 days from now, something like that. And what that means is that a week before, give or take, there will be a feature freeze. Actually, probably 2 weeks before there will be a feature freeze. There is and what that means is that no more patches will go in, and I will use those 2 weeks to make sure we are bug free for ODTN. In the sense that I will make sure that at least the basic functionality, and I will ask everybody to test their stuff, at least the basic functionality we're looking for, so for phase 1.0, TAPI 2.1, and a few other things, are on 2.0, are working in 2.0. Then what we will do is use that 2.0 as a base. So all the patches that right now will be on master, and or at least we're working on the master, we will still keep working on the same code, which is 2.0. We're not going to go to 2.1, and thus that will enable us to lose less time due to bugs introduced by other merges and other commits. How exactly to do that, I will talk to Tom and other people for details to maybe help us from a development perspective. But I think the easiest way is just to start the patches not from the master branch, but from the ONOS 2.0 branch when that gets released. So if any new patch you need to start from the 2.0 branch instead of starting from the master. And at some point, if there are patches in flight between when we release 2.0 that are not yet merged, we will need to rebase them on 2.0 instead of having them on master. But we can come to that with the open patches related to ODTN as soon as that release happens, and we can. I can help anybody who needs a hand on that when there is the need for it, and thus that will help us lose less time on bugs that we did not introduce. And so that's pretty good. Okay, so let me see if there is anything else we need to discuss. Okay, ONF Connect demo, we did that. We did the OLS discussion update. I think that's all on my side. And I really look forward to meeting everybody in person next week, so we can discuss, like, for example, the power, the wavelength, the configuration, and all the progress with the OLS, and like really meet face to face and define also the timeline and the interest from the operators for phase 2.0. Anything else, guys? Any other point that you guys need to discuss?
A question about the meeting next week.
Yes.
Will there be any links, GoToMeetings, or anything set up for that?
Yes, Gary. There is this GoToMeeting link, and we will keep it open for remote participation.
I see it. Yes, good. Okay, very good.
I will send an email out to everybody, probably on Friday. A general email to the whole community with the remote participation, and then I will make an email specific for the local participants that are gonna be in ONF to make sure they have the right directions and everything. Bear in mind it's 9:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time and 1:30 p.m. PST. So I know that for you, our European friends, it's gonna be a little bit hard to participate, and like up until the end. But at least as the first few hours, you can participate, and feel free to join and leave at whatever time you see fit. So just obviously, the more you can stay, the better. But if there are commitments you have, and obviously it's a night time, so feel free to join and leave whenever you guys can. Okay. Any other questions? Thoughts? Okay. Then, if not, I think we all have our action points regarding the different Jira stories we have here, and a few other points on TAPI here, especially for Karthik. So let's take on those, and let's review Monday next week what the state of things is on each of those tasks and each of those points. I will merge Ramon's patch in order for us to continue working on the transponder side too, and I will review Arturo's and Diego's patch for the OLS controller. And if anybody that have time and interest to do so, please take a look at that too, because it is really the base of what we are doing for the OLS for phase 1.5. So any other OLS vendor or manufacturer, or like anybody else who's going to implement a driver for the OLS, has to take a look at that and see if it fits their use case in order not to duplicate a lot of drivers with the same functionality. Okay. And I really look forward to meeting you, whoever will join in person next week, and see maybe somebody else also at ONF Connect. I plan to share the presentation I'm going to make at ONF Connect with the whole group at a later point in time after the conference. So after the conference, you will have at least the slide deck if you're not able to participate in the conference of what I presented. And it's basically going to be an in-depth look at the details of ODTN. Okay. So thanks, everybody, and have a great day or great evening for the people in Europe.
Thank you, Andrea.
See you next week.
Okay, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Andrea.
Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you, Andrea. Bye.
Bye-bye.